Welcome into another edition of Gas. I am Gresh. He is Jason Anik.
You were playing everybody and we're winning the game last night.
The head coach is fighting people on the sideline.
What do you got for me?
I know you're a part of the Tight Pants Society.
No fucking play is that a gimme, right?
It is a super edition of Gas here today. I am Gresh. He is Jason Anik. It is time for us to peel through everything Patriots and Super Bowl related. Big weekend for DBX. Big weekend in the UFC last weekend. Jason Anik, how did DBX go on Friday night, friend? I know you got blood on your jacket. My wife pointed that out to me.
Yeah, well, I'm the guy that wore the light brown suit into the ring to do post-fight interviews with bleeding fighters. That's on me. But, you know, what I'll say is, since you asked, that was the highlight of the night. Travis St. John, who was previously 0-2 in dirty boxing, gets the finish. And he comes, I was excited for him because there's a lot of pressure on him. He signed a 4-fight deal and was 0-2. And he comes up to me and he's like, that's who the fuck I am. And it was fucking great. So it is what it is. John said blood comes out. We went to the dry cleaner before we went home to see my daughters, but dirty boxing was great. What's interesting was 9 of the 12 fights went the distance, 3-minute rounds, which was rare for dirty boxing. So they're starting to get a feel for the rule set. Pure boxers starting to sort of come to the forefront, but a lot of moving parts there, but they're doing it right. 5 events in Houston, going back to Nashville for DBX 6.
I love it. Those are great markets as well. Good places to hang out and do an event. Quickly, we'll also touch on, because I know we're going to just be balls to the wall with the Super Bowl and the Patriots and maybe a little bit of Belichick. I'm curious for your thoughts on that. We just found out, by the way, right before we came on here live, that from Adam Schefter that Robert Kraft is not getting into the Hall of Fame this year. So we have some stuff to unpack there. But UFC 325 was a hell of a card, I thought. The main event, boy, oh boy, Alexander Volkanovski just continues to defy father time. And I know that he's talked about, if he doesn't get a fight every 3 months, he gets a little itchy. Yep. And I would figure that as he got older, maybe that would subside. Nope, this guy's just a badass. And went in there, beat Diego Lopez once again. I don't know where Diego Lopez goes from here, Jay. I actually thought Lopez fought a better fight than last time, but Volk is just on another level.
So I love Volk. Great respect for the body of work. But in terms of this particular mixed martial arts fight, which took home fight of the night, wouldn't have got my vote. I fell asleep watching the fight. It is late on the East Coast, right? Fell asleep watching the fight. And then when I went to rewatch it the next day, I could have fallen asleep again, if I'm being totally honest with our audience, right? I love Volkanovski. The fight just didn't do it for me. I didn't think it should be booked in the first place. And that's sort of what happened. But ultimately, I love Volk as a human being and as a fighter. So I'm thrilled for him to add to his greatness. Rufy over Fiziev really stole it for me. That's an impressive matchup / fighter. Sometimes both guys get in there against an absolute dog and shit happens. And for me, Oban Elliott, who was submitted by McAuliffe in Australia, the Australian had a nice submission on his home turf, but Oban Elliott going to sleep and not tapping. Anytime someone does that, respect.
Cody Merrow jumped in our chat, and the low fight IQ by Elliott. That's a pretty good take right there.
Well, hold on. In his defense,
okay,
he said that he kind of got caught, and the next thing he knew, he was being put to sleep. So I think, just in his defense a little bit, I think perhaps that was not an intellectual decision rather than something his opponent did to him. That's all.
Quinlan Salkeld, I think I said that right. I mean, that was, we'll talk about domination in the opening fight against Jamie Malarkey. That was very one-sided. You know what? I think Tai Tuivasa is the kind of guy I want to go to the Kowloon with. I don't know if I need to see him in the ring anymore. I really don't. Like, if he's not knocking somebody out, I don't think there's much there.
Teixeira can go to the Kowloon with you too. All three of you. That'd be
I know. He's a big bastard. Teixeira. My goodness gracious. But yeah, Shuey it's a great novelty deal. It just doesn't do it for me anymore. And I know there's a couple of fight nights now coming up. I would love.
Yeah,
I gotta text John and ask about Australia and what it was like this time.
Yeah,
I mean, Christ, they almost put him on a boat to go over there, for God's sakes.
Yeah, seriously, nightmare travel. And we're gonna move into the Super Bowl. So before we move, fuck fighting for a minute. So let me ask you a question. I know you might have seen it. What do you think? Whose jersey you think I'm wearing? Right, I'm not gonna move. There might be some hints by you seeing the number. Maybe I stood up a couple times. Cody, don't give him any fucking hints.
No, okay? I completely missed the number that is on the jersey. I know it's double digit. I can kind of tell.
And what else can you see? Right, you can see the S. What does that S tell you?
Tells
you the era. Tells you the era. It's not the '90s S. That's a hint.
Is that an Edelman?
What's that?
Is that an Edelman?
No, I'll give you 5 guesses. You'll never get it. I'll tell you it's a defensive player.
Malcolm Butler.
Oh, great guess. No. John bought it for me. Really underrated player. Maybe didn't get the most love because he was on Mayo's staff.
I was going to say, if you stand up and it's Gerard Mayo, I'm going to shit my pants. Dante Hightower. Hey, look, let me tell you, the guy who gets forgotten about in the comeback win over Atlanta in the Super Bowl is Dante Hightower.
I love it.
He didn't just get the strip. He made multiple plays on defense in that second half. And everybody goes for the big, look at the big play that he made. He was out there making plays all over the place. Dante Hightower, the player, I liked him a lot.
So John bought me this jersey however long ago it was. And I was so glad he made this choice because he was deciding between this or James White. And I much prefer this. I love what you talked about that Atlanta Super Bowl. And I don't know if I said it this on this show or whatever. I think I did last week, but that Super Bowl for me, 49, breaking the 10-year drought. Malcolm, go. I know we're going to get into it later. Let's just get into our topic so we can get to the Super Bowl.
You know what I was going to say? The Malcolm Butler interception game in the win over Seattle was my last game that I did on the Patriots radio network.
Wow.
So I was in the booth when everybody completely was looking around wondering what the fuck just happened. Like, honestly, let me tell you this. So where the booths were, Jay, you could see into everybody else's booth. Some don't do the windows in between. They just do the windows out, right? Well, this one had the windows in between. And I remember Zoe and I were grabbing each other, losing our shit. And then I see Zoe look down and Boomer Esiason, who was doing like the national call, I believe, is looking over in our booth, basically saying, what the fuck? What the fuck? It was almost like one of those moments in that moment. And then everybody went nuts. And then the post-game party and all that. How about this? Since you've heard stories about my wife, even maybe through John. I had to be on the air the next morning from Phoenix, Arizona at 7 a.m. At 5:30 in the morning, I was dragging my wife out of the post-game party, kicking and screaming because she didn't want to leave, and I had to get her back. And then I had to hustle into the city. So it turned into a tiny bit of a shit show there. But there's photos of her and her friend with Chandler Jones. They're right there when like Pitbull was singing and stuff like that. It was kind of wild.
And that game for Seattle Seahawks fans has to still be such an open wound. You, instead of going back to back and having a true dynasty, right? You really need multiple championships to be a dynasty. That's probably one piece of some. But anyway, that game, just unbelievable. It always sticks out to me. So I love this opponent here. But yeah, let's touch on the fact that Bill Belichick was not elected on the first ballot into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Briefly, you can go first. I have very limited things to say. Go ahead.
This isn't about the process being flawed or anything like that. While it is, it's never something that we've complained about like the Baseball Hall of Fame. This was just about a couple of, dickhead voters who thought for the first time ever, hey, let's act like the people of the BBWAA, those who vote for the people in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, mind you, there is a morality clause that the baseball writers have to wrestle with when voting people into the Hall of Fame. When it comes to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, there is none of that. That's why O.J. Simpson is still in it. And this was just a couple of people who wanted to supposedly dole out justice. And then a lot of them pussied out. And it turned into, well, I didn't vote no on Bill. I voted yes for this guy. That's horseshit semantics. And it's as simple as this. Everybody in that room who were one of the 50 voters knows that Bill is overqualified to go into the Hall of Fame. This was just some people in Indianapolis and Kansas City and some other places who thought that there should have been more justice than the NFL handed out for Spygate. Let's just quickly remember why some people are hot over this, Jay. New England got fined their first round pick that year, which just happened to be number 31. They owned San Francisco's pick in that 08 draft. That was number 7 overall, in which New England traded down to number 10, got themselves extra currency in the middle rounds because they lost their own first round pick. And then they took Gerard Mayo. So basically, in the mind of a lot of owners and people who felt that Bill Belichick really should have been punished, he kind of wasn't. He sort of worked around it. And that's why further punishments have now become, if you own, it's your pick, unless you own multiple picks, then the higher one is the one that the NFL takes away from you. So they changed their punishment because of it, because Bill did kind of wiggle around it and be like, okay, take away the lower pick, whatever. I'll draft a good player, get 2 more picks and shove it up your ass. So some guys just wanted to kind of take it out on Bill, completely knowing that he's overqualified to go to the Hall of Fame. It's the first time the voting body, Jay, has taken it into their own hands to try to punish someone.
So, as a Patriots fan and a Bill Belichick fan, I love that everyone's aghast about this, right? Mm-hmm. But the only one that's going to have to live with it is Bill Belichick, ultimately. And that sucks for him and, his inner circle, his family, whatever it is. But in terms of a take on it, Jason Garrett had the best take, right? And he was like, and I'm paraphrasing, but something like, the conversation when I heard his name, I was thinking what thing in the Hall of Fame are they naming after Bill Belichick? Not whether or not is he going to get into the first ballot. What are they naming after this guy? Is there going to be a statue that, right? Do you know what I mean? It's a whole other level. You talk about that inner room with Deion Sanders. The door is left ajar for Bill Belichick. So it's a mockery of a travesty. And you know what I'll say to you? Your guy, Matt Light. Okay. Your guy, Matt Light, not my guy, Matt Light, interviewed on NFL Network about it. And he's like, all this talk about Belichick. He's like, we should talk about the guys that are getting in, and then we want to talk about Drew Brees or whatever. And I want to be like, hey, Matt, you got a problem with Bill, buddy? You a little sour, Matt? But I didn't like that take out of your boy.
I didn't. I missed that one because I heard him and others like Lawrence Guy basically saying that Lawrence Guy had a great line. He said, before I came to New England, when I was in Baltimore, we had something called KGB. He completely outed their way of which they stole signals, gathered information, stuff like that. I think to a lot of guys in the NFL, the espionage is really, no big deal. I don't
Especially
think Bill
Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, I don't think Bill and Matt Light are crossed to hear. Yeah. I think what it was is that Matt Light was among the few who was willing to push back on Bill. And there weren't a lot of, who was another one? Vrabel. Yeah. That's why Vrabel, I think, is in part the coach that he is. But in all seriousness, it's complete horse shit that Bill didn't get in on the first try.
It's also horseshit that Kraft didn't get in today. That's horseshit too.
Well, here's one other, that whole deal is just, I don't know what the hang up is with Kraft. I really don't. I don't.
What the fuck is that? Jerry Jones sitting in there? Kraft does all the deals with the TV networks and does a bunch of rings. Get the fuck out of here.
You know what it is that that's a part of the convoluted process in that he's in like a separate category with separate people that you're evaluating him against. It's just, it's really nutty. But at the end of the day, go ahead.
Well, what Cody just put in the chat, is that it? Is it the massage stuff?
I mean, God almighty, I would hope not. I mean, he got off from the charges. He did.
Let's talk about the fucking Super Bowl, baby.
Bro, this is it really is crazy. Well, here's the other thing too. So in 2 years, when Tom Brady comes up and he was involved in Deflategate, are these same assholes going to do the same thing to him since they set the precedent with Bill on Spygate?
No, Belichick takes the fucking bullet for Brady here.
That's
once again, and
Belichick, you know what?
Belichick's the one guy that thinks, Brady got his seventh ring. Kraft is back to the Super Bowl. Belichick's doing his thing in North Carolina. And I wanted Belichick gone before he left, despite all his greatness, because I think the time had passed him by. But how about a little flowers for Coach Bill? But you know what? You're a little bit sour sometimes, sometimes things come your way, but this shouldn't have come his way.
Yeah, this was nuts. All right. To the Super Bowl, the number has held at 4.5. Which I'm liking more and more every day. I really am. There is some. Well, look, I don't think New England is going to win. However, the plus 4.5 with some of the stats that are out there, Jay, it's a real contrarian sort of spot. Where let me run this by you. Over the last 24 years, underdogs are 18-6 ATS, including 14-4 ATS in the last 18. I mean, that's pretty heavy ATS to the underdog. Dadgummit, there was another one that I had here that I really wanted to. Favorites in the Super Bowl, 35-23 straight up. ATS 25-30-3. That's only 45.5%. And that is in the last 58. The 1982 game was a pick'em point spread. So that one would scream Seattle on the money line. You have one here for New England. AFC teams are 8-4 ATS in the last 12. And that's a pretty good crop of teams and stuff like that. But look, I think Drake May's shoulder is cranky, Jay. I think there is something there with his shoulder. Go ahead.
I sent you guys a text message where there was smoke, there was fire. And I know maybe the guy who I sent you the video of, you might not have cared for that particular individual, but yeah, like there's definitely something here. You may continue.
No, and so I went back and watched that AFC Championship game, all right? And then combine it with this stat, all right? Drake May he had like 2 games this year where he was sacked 5 times. In each playoff game, he's been sacked 5 times. Now, those are just sacks, let alone the hits, the knockdowns, the runs where he tries to get out of the pocket, or when he's running out of the pocket, contact at the end of a play, things of that nature. So I went back and watched 3 cold bird misses. One was to Diggs, one was to Pop, and one was short and fading away to Booty. All those balls were short. When a shoulder gets cranky for a football player, the passes start to die where they shouldn't be, just a hair short. And I know Drake May yesterday said, I'll be just fine. I do think there is something there. And let's remember, if there's one offensive coordinator in all the land who has put together game plans for quarterbacks where they're not going to throw the ball 20 or more yards down the field, it's Josh McDaniels. I go back to 14 catches for the guy you mentioned earlier, Jay, James White, in the Super Bowl in Atlanta. That's Josh McDaniels calling that offense. So it's been done before. Seattle gives it up to the tight end. Those are some quick play actions you might be able to hit on the way. I do not expect this to be a big 20-plus air yard throw type game. I think it's shorter to the line of scrimmage. You work your personnel groupings to try to run the ball, and you make it easier on the kid and don't expect him to have to chuck the thing down the field 10 times.
I agree with all that great stuff. And obviously, in terms of the shoulder, we're not going to know exactly how it feels because we're not going to be truly in that inner circle. So ultimately, I think the way it feels as we sit here on a Tuesday midday, I'm hoping as a Patriot fan that it feels better and better as the week goes on. You do have a couple weeks, and not knowing the acuteness of the injury, tough to really know. And when you shoot it up, is he going to get shot up for the first time close to the game, and it's going to feel better than ever for one game for the kid? Potentially it can. So even though I think it's an issue, I don't think it's going to be a big issue in this game.
Well, I will say this. Why I disagree with that is because it's like two separate games. The one thing about the Super Bowl is, as a player, you're shutting it down for 30 minutes at halftime. Not the normal 15 minutes, maybe I can throw a bag of ice on it or something like that. You got guys that change uniforms. You have guys who take a shower, for crying out loud, almost like they reset themselves as if it's the beginning of the game. And it'll be really interesting to see, Jay, how individual players and how Drake May goes about not completely stiffening up in that locker room, with that crazy long halftime show. And a lot of players have talked about, yes, it's like playing. You have to really get yourself cranked up as if it's the opening kickoff again for the second half, because it's such a long halftime.
So we could obviously talk more about the shoulder, but I'm going to just move in a different direction. There's a lot of different components to this game. I'm hoping Drake feels pretty good. I think Trevion Henderson is a key to this game for the Patriots. I think it was so smart leaning on number 38, Mondre, in several spots during the regular season, down the stretch, and even in the postseason. But I think Trevion is going to have to do some things in this game. So I'm hoping they do something with him. I think Stephon Diggs is also a big part of this game, right? In terms of, the veteran leadership and his ability to inspire others, getting him a catch or two and getting him running his mouth a little bit, I think can go a long way, and making this team believe that they can do it against this juggernaut that is Seattle. Drake May, one thing that I'll say, even in his first year, Gresh, is that I loved his decision-making. Even in the year with Mayo at the helm, I was like, wow, this guy's making decisions on it quickly. I remember my grandfather couldn't stand Bledsoe because he was just held the ball too long, slow to make decisions, and wanted Brady in there. And I liked in year one how May made decisions very quickly, did that in year two. Postseason, not as much a little bit. So I think for, no weather here. I think Drake's mind is as important as his shoulder here. I think he needs to be decisive and protect the football like he did in Denver, didn't turn it over. So those are three things for me. And I think Will Campbell, I'm hoping maybe he hasn't been fully back to health. I'm hoping that the quickness, the explosivity from an athletic standpoint can be back a little bit for 66.
What's crazy is the Patriots are the first team in NFL history to make a Super Bowl with a rookie left side of the offensive line. I would have thought that somebody would have cracked that one before New England did. I think there's a real opportunity here for Drake May with his legs. So if you look at Seattle's run defense, they're at 3.8 yards per rush allowed. When it's quarterbacks on the run or on the scramble, that goes from 3.8 to 5.3. So at 3.8 yards per rush, Seattle has the number one ranked defense in football. When it's the quarterback running it, they're the 29th rush defense in football. So there's now, again, that there have been times this year where I've been screaming, run the kid. And I thought that McDaniels was going to wait until a big spotter late in the year. We see a big, don't tell everybody else that the kid's keeping the football run at the end of the AFC Championship game where they called a run play and Drake May just kept the ball and did a naked bootleg. So we know that McDaniels and May can pull it off really excellently in making sure that no one knows and then go out and beat, Christian Ellis's brother to the edge. So I think for May, if as long as the shoulder is okay, the Patriots will really know what's going on there within that shoulder. Do you turn the kid loose in the run game a little bit? Or if that pass rush gets a little undisciplined for Seattle, here's Drake May running up the middle and not worrying about it. This, when people make the Josh Allen comparisons, Jay, this is the kind of game where I think it's going to show up, because
Hmm.
I could see Drake May throwing for 200 yards or so in this game, but also running for like 85 yards, maybe a touchdown, and sort of saving the day if his offensive line starts to give it up a little bit. That excites me because it opens up a whole different set of play calls for Josh McDaniels. If Drake May can establish himself a little bit and Seattle reacts to it, now you're really making it easier in the play action game. It allows you, if you got to bust out the old trick play, I know we're going to get to some props later. If you got to bust out a trick play, Josh McDaniels is really good at that. And when the quarterback can run and you can add extra ball fake in there, you really have a chance to kind of, make the defense's head explode.
So Cody in the back, Patriots in the fucking Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Just like to press pause and interrupt your regularly scheduled program here to let everybody know, all the haters out there, and there are fucking plenty of you. There might be red state, blue state, rep up, but everybody fucking hates New England. So Cody in the back, I hope you're enjoying the fact that the Patriots are in the Super Bowl, because I am. And what I'll say, Gresh, too, I've been like in combat sports, dirty boxing, a lot of moving parts. I haven't been able to bask in the glow, as we say, of the Patriots win in the American Football Championship Conference game, whatever. So for me, I'm just going to sort of be in the moment a little bit here. We're certainly going to talk about the Seattle offense and what they can do in both defenses, but how about the Patriots punching their fucking ticket? Let's fucking go. 4.5-point dogs. Do you know how much I love that everybody fucking loves Seattle? Everybody loves Seattle. 75% of the action in Vegas. Everybody going, go Hawks, go Hawks. 12th man. Yeah, okay. We're going to fucking put another fucking championship banner up in New England, motherfuckers.
Let me tell you, they're honestly, Jay, they're sleeping giants right now,
Yes.
meaning New England. Like they really are. People are underestimating them. How about Milton Williams yesterday? They asked Big Milt. They were like, when will you guys start to get respect? He goes, we can win this game. People won't give us respect. He was like, we know people just going to keep picking at us. He was like, so who cares? What a great answer. And I love it. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it that the best player on the defense is, remember when Rodney Harrison would have to make that bullshit up? Oh, 20 of 21 picked you, Rodney. Yeah, but that one guy, that son of a bitch, Oh, no, this is going to be one of those 20 people are going to, not 20 people picking New England, 20 people picking Seattle, and it's going to be real easy to, pick up a fish wrap or whatever in the world it is and be able to see people talking junk. That leads me to the emotion of the first quarter, Jay. We're like, you just got hyped up like it was first quarter ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And we're 6 days away from the game or whatever, right? But no Super Bowl team has had more snaps played by rookies during the year than the New England Patriots.
Good. And what do they say? They're not rookies anymore at the end of the regular season.
No, it's true. But what it is it's the make sure you pace yourself, right? How many teams have we seen come out in the first quarter and either completely work themselves to where their minds explode, or they come out playing too hot, too jumpy, too high? You're at the Super Bowl. I heard Ty Law this week say that the AFC Championship game is more nerve-wracking than the Super Bowl because it's the game to get there, not being in the game. Then you have to learn how to manage to play the game. That it's like two separate halves, two separate games of football within the halves, the longer halftime. Here's another one, right? You get warmed up, and then there's 20 minutes of whatnot before the game kicks off. So the reason I bring up the rookie thing is, yes, you're right. They're veterans once it starts, but everybody is going to have to manage their emotion, and that includes guys like Steph Diggs, who've never been here before, but I want them to act like they've been here before, if you know what I mean.
Great stuff there. And I think, ultimately, similar to what you say about the first quarter, right? You have to expect you're going to have adversity and expect a close game. And I know it's cliche, but a 60-minute football game. Josh McDaniels said in an interview this week, it's going to be far and away the best team we faced all year. And I like that narrative, just knowing that it's going to be a slugfest. And you've seen Drake May multiple times this season make a big mistake in a regular season game and bounce back from it, be resilient. I think that's important. And your points about halftime, It's not a 60-minute game, guys. It's going to feel more like a 90-minute game tonight because it's the Super Bowl, given all the hoopla. You know, what I'll say as we shift back to try to stay on topic, because I have many thoughts on the general game overall, but as we shift to sort of the Seattle offense, and obviously the Seattle offense directly relates to the Patriots defense. But I have this sort of odd thought, and it's probably dumb in some respects, but the fact that Zach Charbonnet is out kind of scares me a little bit more because Kenneth Walker, I probably said this last week, Kenneth Walker to me is at like the peak of his prime. He was banged up early in his career, played every game in this, his 5th year, right? He's in a contract year, and he just looks absolutely electric. I made the comparison where in the Detroit backfield, you have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and you might as well let Jahmyr Gibbs just go sometimes, right? And have him be that bell cow. So Kenneth Walker being that bell cow scares me a little bit as a Patriots fan. You know, he can do things on the outside. I feel as though Zach Charbonnet was a guy Patriots maybe could contain a little bit. Kenneth Walker, if he, even on the inside, if he gets through that first level, he's low to the ground. He's elusive. So he scares the shit out of me. There's a lot of matchups on the outside. Certainly the Christian Gonzalez, Jackson Smith, and Jigba matchup is fascinating. I like Christian Gonzalez's chances to perhaps at least hang with that dude who's the best receiver in football. But Kenneth Walker, I've been having nightmares about this guy, Gresh.
Yeah, it really starts up front. I mean, you know, I'm not do I think Kenneth Walker is going to pull like a Timmy Smith in 88 and run for like 200 whatever yards and win the game for them? No, I don't. Because of Big Milton Williams. And when you look at the Patriots run defense with and without Milton Williams in there, it's a completely different look. We've seen the good run defense here in the playoffs because Big Milt is coming back. I think it's very astute to bring up the corners because the more that the safeties can be involved in the run game, the better it's going to be for New England. So according to NFL Next Gen stats, 18 players have been targeted at least 10 times in coverage this postseason. Patriots corners Carlton Davis and Christian Gonzalez rank 1 and 2 among that group in terms of the lowest passer rating allowed in coverage. So lowest passer rating allowed in coverage in the postseason, Carlton Davis 21.4, Christian Gonzalez a 39. That's locking quarterbacks down and giving them nowhere to really go with the football. So that run game, if Walker gets going early, Jay, off of the point that you made, that's where the play action game comes in, and that's where Sam Darnold's done really well, and that's what gives the Patriots corners some trouble if they have to worry about stopping that run. So really it's a Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, Cody, what's his name? I forget now, Kairos Tonga type game. The facts are really going to matter. And Jay, the one thing I did see in a 3-down look from New England in the playoffs was Christian Barmore lining up over a tackle. The only reason I bring that up is if you feel like you need some more beef on the outside or maybe on the backside of a formation where there's no tight end, the Patriots have been running big on offense. They might run big on defense, kicking Barmore out to the 5, bringing in another big person to put beside Milton Williams, and then your best kind of stand-up two-way defensive end mixed in there to try to handle that run game.
I love it. And Barmore can handle that athletically.
Yes, he can. Yeah, he's Barmore's great. Barmore's underrated, especially with Milton Williams. Barmore's vastly underrated.
Well, the good guy to pay in the Belichick era. I believe Belichick was part of the group that locked him up. So the matchup, Christian Gonzalez, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, and then even on the other side, Carlton Davis, Rashid Shaheed. I mean, that's really great for an objective general fan of this league.
Stuff. Yeah. If you're into the wee component of the skill players, that is a good matchup to watch. But what it does do, Jay, is it gets Seattle down to their third wide receiver, Cooper Kupp, maybe, I don't know. But that's where if Shaheed slides into the slot, you've arguably got the best slot, quick twitch slot corner in football in Marcus Jones. So Yeah, so I think even deeper, the matchup works better for New England. If they want to take a big person off the field and put 3 wide receivers out there, if I'm Seattle, I'd be trying to run out of 3 wide all day. What side is my slot receiver on? Let me run towards Marcus Jones and see what happens.
Very good point there. So question for you. Sam Darnold led the NFL in the regular season with 20 turnovers. Let's not forget that. Drake May, I understand, has had some issues in the postseason, but had 0 against the Broncos and did only have 11 during the regular season. Not going to be dealing with weather here. The Patriots defense is kind of funky, right? We know about some of the red zone issues during the regular season. They didn't rank well in terms of once folks got into the red zone against the Patriots, they found a way to hit pay dirt. It's been better in the postseason. But my question for you, general or specific, you like Seattle to win the game. Do you think this Patriots defense can make Sam Darnold uncomfortable?
100%. And I'm trying to find the number from the AFC Championship game on Milton Williams and winning on the quick rushes. Jay, I am a big believer that the inside and the middle of this Patriots defense is the key to the win. I really do. Milton Williams had a 28% pass rush win rate, I think it was, against Denver. But more importantly, I think he's either number 1 or number 2 in quick pressures. Why is that important? It's normally up the middle. It normally forces the quarterback to kind of freak out a little bit. And it's the kind of pressure they got on CJ Stroud. So if I'm playing against Sam Darnold, I'm going to treat him like CJ Stroud. I'm going to heat him up. I want quick pressure. I want guys like Milton Williams. Even if I got to move him from, am I going to match him up against the left guard or the right guard, or do I want to match him up right over the center, put him as a backside shade, as they call it, away from a 3 technique down lineman. And, your center better be ready for a long day of work if Milton Williams is going to line up across from you for 70 plays. But Milt Williams was, and Cody Durden and people like that, they were really good on the quick pressures up the middle. They took advantage against Quinn Meinerz of Denver. Who's the guard or center they're going to pick on for the quick pressures? And Jay, if Sam Darnold starts getting quick pressure, he will CJ Stroud himself. I really believe that.
I hope. So much to get into with this game. So your boy Tom Curran was on with your other boy Mike Florio this week, and I loved what Tom Curran had to say. I know, shake your head, but I love what Tom Curran had to say because, Gresh, sometimes I feel like I'm on a little bit of an island as a New England fan in terms of this easy schedule or whatever it is. And Tom Curran said he's like, they could easily be 20-0, right? Fuck you. And I'm with him, right? It's like we talk all along about this Patriots season. They talk about the easy schedule. So he's made 2 points. I've made the same points, right? We know week 1 against the Raiders, then week 3 against Pittsburgh, they dominate. And then if they don't blow a 21-point lead against Buffalo, they've won fucking almost 20 straight or whatever the fuck it is. And the point differential, right? They're blowing out these bad teams, right? Their point differential, I think, 2nd or 3rd in the whole league. So it's like top 5 defense, top 5 offense, just to an extent, Gresh, the schedule almost overwhelms anything that the Patriots did good, I feel like, in the national media.
Oh, 100%, because I think people can't comprehend how can this team completely flip their record? How can they go from 13 losses to 13 wins? Hey, it's incomparable. If we can't comprehend it, then what must it be? Well, it must be this bad schedule. And to me, Jay, that's the point. And I made this in various places. I'm like, look, everybody pees their pants over Myles Garrett. He gets 5 sacks. His Cleveland team comes in. They still lose by 21 points. Right? So there have been people who've had great days against New England and they still got their ass kicked as a team. And that's the point, is that you weren't doing what Denver was doing, to where they were just winning by a couple of points here and there. It was, we are significantly better than these teams, and therefore we've got our cracks at 3 supposed big boys. Then now everybody wants to pick apart, hey, great job, Chargers. You made the playoffs. Now let's crap all over them because New England ended up beating them. People pump up CJ Stroud all the time. New England affected him. No. CJ Stroud just kind of shit his pants. Oh, you went to Denver. You want to get a backup quarterback. Yeah, but a lot of people were pumping the tires of that backup quarterback thinking he's a starter. That's stupid. That's why he's a backup, and he's been a backup his whole career. But still, you're right. Milton Williams is right, Jay. It's not going to be enough. It isn't. If New England wins by, the old Vinatieri kick, walk-off kick or something like that, oh, fortunate. They're fortunate. They're lucky. They're this. You know what? They can be all that. And you know what you can do? Shine up the 7th trophy.
Oh, and start working on number 8. Kevin Millar back in the day, and I know it was based on a baseball game in a series, but he's like, don't let us get tonight. Anyone who's a fan of a team in the National Football League, and specifically the American Football Conference, don't let the Patriots hoist this one and have that little bit of confidence to enter the Drake May Vrabel era. Like a chip already on their belt, you don't want that.
It's true.
Couple things. My main thing about this game, I really do believe the team that turns it over less wins. I really do. I think if the Patriots can look at what they did in Denver, that was good, was protecting the football. And I think they can figure out a way to get Sam Darnold rattled at least at some point. I think they need to really know that it's a long game, that Drake May's going to come over to the sideline at some point. Something bad will maybe have happened. But maybe that won't happen. And if you don't have one of those situations where you're walking over to the sideline because you gave the ball to Seattle with a short field or something like that, if that doesn't happen, I think you put yourself in a great position to win. I think the same thing for Seattle. If I'm a Seahawks fan and I say, all right, we're the better team, perhaps 1 through 53 or 1 through 45, whatever it is. If we can just protect the football and Sam Darnold cannot see ghosts and protect it, how do we lose? So to me, I really do think, as cliche as it sounds, it comes down to turnovers. In terms of making a pick for the game or handicapping it, tough for me to remove my bias. As we get into our bets, I'll probably give you a pick on the game.
I would agree that turnovers are going to be a massive factor, much more for Seattle, because if Darnold starts throwing picks, they come in bunches. Okay, so if they can avoid the bad Darnold interception, like he takes a chance or has one at the end of a half, that's one thing. But if he's out there because of quick pressure and he's throwing off his back foot, that's where you end up getting him. To me, this comes down to red zone because Seattle was a middling team in terms of offensive performance when they got deep into territories this year, and New England flat out stunk on red zone defense. I mean, just stunk. I think it was like the Patriots allowed touchdowns on 95% of their opponent's goal-to-go possessions this season. Not only the highest mark in the league, but the 4th highest by any team going back to 1978. So they're not just bad. They have been like historically bad in the red area this year. But look, Sam Darnold can throw 3 turnovers, but if the Patriots take 3 red zone, Drake May could turn it over 3 times. But if the New England defense turns that into 9 points and not 21, there's your ball game right there. And I know that you could point to every game and say the red zone, but considering Seattle has been meh and they don't have Charbonnet, and New England has been just god-awful, the turnovers will be a factor. But if New England keeps, if New England can skunk people in the red area and do what they haven't done all year, that's why I keep going back to the middle of the defensive line and Milton Williams maybe being one of the real true keys to winning this game. I think that's kind of where it's decided, because it's among the rare things in this matchup, Jay, where it's weakness against weakness. It's a lot of strength against strength in this team. That's one of those spots where it's weakness against weakness.
I like it. So you like the points. You like the 4.5 points, but you like Seattle to win the game.
Yeah.
And, so a couple things I want to mention quickly, and what we can move into our picks, but I I don't know if you guys are aware, but I know you're aware that I did a Survivor podcast called The Last Man Standing with Tony Farmer this season. And are you aware of this entry that we have in this $50, $50,000 Survivor pool? Have I told you about that publicly?
Yes. I am aware. Yes.
So just to let you guys know and our audience know in round numbers, it was a $50 entry, started week 15. And we had an entry. There were 1,100 entries, and you pick 2 teams during the regular season every week. Can't pick the same team twice. Once you've used them, they're gone. And then 1 team throughout the postseason. So right now, Tony and I are one of 3 entries left out of 1,100. It's a $50,000 prize. We are with one other entry on the Seattle Seahawks, and then the opposing entry is on the Patriots. So if the Seattle Seahawks win, Tony and I win $25,000. If the Seattle Seahawks beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. If the Patriots win, we win nothing. So for those of you that know me, my happiness hedge has been built in for me with the Survivor contest magically. And so I guess I just want to share that with you. But what I'll tell you is what I've learned this year more than anything in this Circa Survivor contest and in sort of talking to sharp gamblers and sports handicappers, even in the million contest out there where you pick 5 games against the spread, you want to be on an island. You want to be where nobody else is. You want to zig when others zag. So when that is in this universe to me, it really makes me like the Patriots quite a bit. Forget the fucking points, maybe even the money line. I think Patriots have a great chance to win this game. I don't think Seattle is on a pedestal above them in any way, shape, or form. I think it's going to be a hard-nosed physical game. I think the Patriots, you talked about the Rams being soft. No soft teams here, but the Patriots potentially could be a little harder than Seattle. So for me here, I love that everybody loves Seattle. I don't think the Patriots are going to get blown out. I don't know if I brought this up, but LeGarrette Blount was asked prior to the AFC Championship, like, all right, well, if the Patriots win this game, you think they get blown out in the Super Bowl? He's like, they're not getting blown out by either one of those teams, whether it be Rams or Seahawks. So I don't think the Patriots get blown out. I'd be peeking at the Patriots money line here, perhaps, but I like the 4.5 points probably more than the money line if we're talking about the game. But let's motherfucking go New England.
No, but that's the thing. Like you can bet on New England. Sometimes there is I know this team isn't going to win, but it's so many points. Let me go the other way. No, you can bet New England and feel like you really do have a chance at winning this game.
Yes.
And even though I'm on Seattle to win the thing,
come on,
that plus 4.5. I mean, come on. I know why it hasn't moved. Normally the Super Bowl line is wonky for a day and then it settles in and it doesn't really move because, the handle is massive and how many people are really coming in with, $1 million wager the day before that could end up shaking things up. Some of the secondary and prop markets. Oh, look at this guy.
Go ahead, Gresh. I'm just really fired up over here today on a Tuesday.
Well, what I was going to say is I think the prop markets are very, very interesting. And there was one that jumped out to me early in the week, Jay, that I want to run by you.
Okay.
Over 2.5 passers in this game. So basically, will we get a third person to throw a football? And when I saw this, I thought, God damn, Josh McDaniels is the offensive coordinator, whether it's, Little Efton Chisholm or somebody else. We know that Josh McDaniels loves to draw up those kind of plays. And here's another one, too. Cody put up, Cooper Kupp posted himself throwing passes in practice this week. But
he's a big dumb animal, isn't he, folks?
But think of this. We got one quarterback that we forgot about has an oblique injury, and we have one quarterback who is concussion prone and might have a cranky shoulder. So just on that alone, combined with the offensive coordinator and maybe with Clint Kubiak trying to be like, I'm going to get the Raiders job. Let me call a great play while I rub my nuts, something like that. I just think there's a chance for a third passer in this game. And I've loved that prop since last week.
I absolutely love it because I think there's a great chance that you get that wide receiver screen that then they throw a pass. Gosh, I hope it's not Josh Dobbs because I think Patriots fans are in big, big trouble if that's the third passer. I'm not worried about Darnold's oblique. I'm probably worried less about that because it's been some time and he really was great last week, a couple weeks back. So, but May's shoulder, I think it's a really interesting bet. I hope I think there's a great chance of fluke play here or there. And hey, you can be 0 for 1 and it hits.
That's it. You don't have to complete it. I just need somebody to throw it. And that's where if New England gets down and they can't, or if they're sputtering off there's a small, tiny part of me that hopes like maybe in the second quarter, the offense starts to sputter a little bit. And Josh does go to the whole, hey, let me run the trick play to try to jump this offense.
Minus 235 for there to be a flea flicker. Gotta love it. So, all right, Gresh, I have 3. I'm going to just sort of rifle through them here or there. You can tell me what you think. And I think one of them does jive with one of yours. So I got Trevion Henderson over 26.5 rushing and receiving yards. I just think inevitably, like, this team is kind of going to be excited not to play in the cold and be on a track where they can move a little bit. And so I just think Trevion gets it done. I think he's going to get some carries, even if some of them are, for a couple yards here or there, and whether it's receiving it out of the backfield, or I think he maybe breaks one for 15 or 20. So I think getting over that 26.5 happens on Sunday night. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Seattle gives it up to tight ends, and then after that, it's running backs. And I know that I've screamed about this before with Trevion Henderson, but Jay, the one that I am on, I just looked it up. For Trevion Henderson to get 4 or more receiving yards is minus 120. So he needs 1 catch, 5 yards, and you're stealing. I love the plus 15 for Henderson on the Henderson receiving yards plus 15 or more yards is plus 272. I feel like I'm stealing on that.
You know what I feel like? I feel like I need to look at a lot of these, layer some bets, and maybe even peek at him for MVP, dare I say, if I'm going to start peeking. If I'm going to start to get cute. Because I'll tell you right now, and you know what? I'm going to get there. You know what? I'm going to go there now, Cody. Forgive me. But one of my picks, Kenneth Walker, as a Super Bowl MVP plus 750. And that's what makes me want to peek at Trevion Henderson, right? It's not necessarily, I understand, it's a quarterback's award, but I tell you, Trevion Henderson is the type of dude that he breaks a couple. He absolutely could win that MVP. But I like Kenneth Walker plus 650. He scares the shit out of me as a Patriots fan. I think you shut him down. I think you hoist a trophy. I think he has a real chance to be disruptive and be the elixir to Sam Darnold's relaxation. Like Kenneth Walker be a nice cup of green tea for Sam Darnold during this game. And I do believe that if he punches a couple touchdowns, he could win it. So I like Kenneth Walker there, but I'm going to peek at Trevion as well.
Hey, let me ask you this one. Drake May's rushing prop, the one that is... you can go 38 or more yards at minus 109 or 40 or more rush yards at plus 104 for Drake May.
Yeah,
I know the numbers scream that Seattle will end up giving up some runs to the quarterback. So that's why I kind of bring that up. Wow, your boy Kenneth Walker, 74 or more. It's minus 110.
Someone show that to Christian Gonzalez in the Patriots locker room. So speaking of Smith and Jigba, another play I have, Gresh, is Jackson Smith and Jigba, anytime touchdown minus 110. I don't love touchdown propositions, especially in a game that potentially could be a bit of a slugfest defensively, but I think he's one of the absolute best players in football. And even if Christian Gonzalez has a great day, I just think there are a lot of ways they try and get this guy the football behind the line of scrimmage in different ways. So I think inevitably in the red zone, given the Patriots' difficulty there, I think JSN gets one. And I think it's somewhat of a short price. That Kenneth Walker minus 195 is too steep for him.
Yeah, the JSN first touchdown score, that stands out to me. That like if there's going to be if they're going to find a way to get JSN open, I think it's going to be in the red area. And I know that sounds weird because it could be Christian Gonzalez guarding him. However, I wonder if they move him around a little bit. I need to do a little deeper dive on the JSN red zone production, but I don't know, that first touchdown for JSN was kind of screaming at me, given those red zone woes. I do like the kid and the rushing. I like Henderson. And you know what? I'm I'm really feeling good about 4.5.
I know you are.
So, I don't like, now again, it hasn't made me feel like they're going to win the game and I jump on the money line, but I just feel like this is a 2 to 3 point game.
It's really interesting. And look, I'm with you, right? I like if I'm forced to pick the game against the spread, I'm taking the 4.5 points.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm forced to pick a winner, I'm probably taking Seattle. So I don't disagree with you at all. And look, obviously there could be a very tight game and you get sort of a backdoor cover either way. Obviously that's part of when you're betting against the spread. Drake May's shoulder, is there anything that you know from any of your inside conversations that you can't bring to the show that give you concern about that shoulder?
No, because everything, I have no problem laying it out. Everything that I'm hearing is indicating that the game plan can be altered or the game plan can reflect where his shoulder might be. There's enough confidence in a guy like McDaniels that he would be able to figure it out. Hey, just real quick on JSN and those targets inside the 10. Great job by Cody here. 22.2% of JSN's total targets are inside the 10. Touchdown total of 10 is lower than the pure red zone monsters like Devontae Adams, but the efficiency is higher. JSN catches 83% of his targets when Darnold looks for him inside the 10-yard line.
I like
it. Yeah, that first touchdown could be. But, I think, Jay, where people are really going to underestimate is, like, the Patriots are a great third quarter team. But is that damn halftime too long? Because the advantage was, okay, you get in there and maybe you got 10 minutes to be able to make your adjustments or for the coaches to be able to say, let's attack things a little differently this way. Now you're basically going back and everybody is watching film on the first half. It's almost like you're putting together two game plans. So does that advantage stay New England's, and can, in particular, the young players crank it up the way they need to in a third quarter after that halftime? I hope people don't think I'm putting too much on that, but the more players that I've talked to, one of the things they bring up is you have to learn how to manage making sure you're ready for when the Super Bowl is ready to go. It's different than every other game, and you have to treat it as such in terms of your individual preparation.
Of all the Super Bowls that have ever been played, Josh McDaniels has been in a locker room for 17% of them, 10 out of 60. So there's a guy that I think even with some young players has an incredible feel. I'm sure he could tell you stories about coming out of the halftime flat. I'm sure he could tell you stories about coming out of the halftime perfectly. And Mike Vrabel been there, done that as well. So ultimately, I have great confidence in the coaching staff. And also, too, a guy that had as big a Super Bowl game as you can have last season, Milton Williams, is in that locker room. So I think there's enough leadership there. And I think Drake May has a little bit of that too young to give a fuck stuff that's good too.
Young, dumb and stupid, right? Like you don't know what you don't know type thing.
But ultimately, I think there are guys, like Stephon Diggs, right? Now I feel like I want to write a book on this guy, honestly. But some of the catches he made this season, his acute focus in the moment. Like I'd love to see a reel of all his catches this season because he made so many difficult catches look easy. And there's a focus to the moment, a Bill Belichickian focus of doing your job in the moment that a guy like Stephon Diggs really does bring. And so I think the fundamental execution of a singular play, I think, is not lost in this organization. And I think that can be the difference. So I'm fired up, man.
Dude, I'm totally with you. I think it's going to be a great Sunday. I really do. I think we know that our guy Cody is on the Patriots as well, just to get Bones' thoughts out there at Cody_Mero on Twitter. He is also he's growing in the sports betting space as well. Congrats to Cody on that. Go Bananas, baby. Go Bananas. And that's it for us. We got to get out of here. DBX when?
DBX 6, I think, moved to March 20th, so pump the brakes, but wheels up to Vegas for Professional Grappling Federation.
Oh!
Season 9 draft, or as they say, 2026 draft, because modeling this thing like the NFL. For those that love jiu-jitsu, Professional Grappling Federation World, we're coming. Tell you, draft tomorrow night live in Las Vegas.
So will you be home base for the Super Bowl, or are you still going to be out there?
That's a very good question. I should be home base. We'll get to some different things offline. Should be home base. My brother's supposed to be down here, so fingers crossed that I'll be here.
Oh, very good. All right, then. And John's going to you for the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Is that some kind of weird fucking happiness hedge or some weird thing with you two relative to the Patriots?
Well, no, I mean, he just moved to Connecticut, so he's trying to get his daughter down here to see some of her close friends because she just started high school. She's trying to get down here. So when he can bring her down here and we're all down here, he's coming. So the Patriots being in the Super Bowl was a nice bonus that he'll be down.
Love it. There you go. All right. Good stuff for you. I will, for those of you locally here in the Providence area, 11:30 a.m. pregame. We're going live on the pregame day of, and then the game is on NBC. I do stuff for the CBS Fox affiliate. So soon as that game is over on Channel 10 in Providence, you need to flip it over to WPRI and Channel 12 because that's where I will be breaking it down for about an hour and a half after the game.
And tell the folks where the new home will be for Andrew Gresh III on Sunday morning.
Yes, I will be settling in with the crew at VSIN, Vegas Sports and Information Network, every Sunday morning with Connecticut's Will Hill, not William Hill, not that William Hill, but Will Hill. And it's 9 to noon every Sunday, and just found out about that. And listen, this show was a part of it, making those picks and kicking ass on that definitely helped. And so I do thank you and Cody for this project is awesome. It ain't going anywhere, but it's definitely getting noticed a little bit. Let's put it that way.
Cool.
And there we go. That's it. Jay's got to go to Vegas. I got to go poop. We'll see you. We'll see you later. There's a real ender for gas this week.
Go get number 7, boys. Go get number 7. Let's go, baby.
Let's go.